Hello everyone, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are watching. It is May the 11th, 2025. There were two games on the NHL schedule today, the Toronto Maple Leafs and Florida Panthers, and the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars, they win 5-2 against the Winnipeg Jets, going ahead in that series 2-1 in the best of 7 series. Before we do anything else, let's go through the goal scorers. Roope Hintz, he gets his 5th goal of the playoffs. Kyle Connor, he gets one of the 2 goals for the Winnipeg Jets. He gets his 5th of the NHL playoffs so far. Thomas Harley, defenseman for the Dallas Stars, he had a huge coming out party at the Four Nations Faceoff where a lot of NHL and hockey fans were able to see how good of a defenseman and how good of a hockey player this kid is. And he gets his 3rd of the playoffs. He is turning into a very reliable defenseman. Nino Niederreiter for the Winnipeg Jets gets the other goal for them, picking up his 4th of the playoffs. And then the Dallas Stars take over this game after it was 2-2. Petrovic, his goal, very controversial. It was a bouncing puck that went everywhere. It went off Rantanen's leg. It went off of Petrovic's leg, and it looked like it was a kicking motion, but it was determined after review that it was not because Hellebuck propelled it into the net. I can see where a ton of Winnipeg Jets fans are pissed off about it, that they aren't happy about it, but at the same time, it is what happened. Hellebuck was the last man to touch that puck, and it went into the net. After that, he put that puck in the net, which would, in my opinion, nullify a kicking motion. And then the Winnipeg Jets nightmare continues. The Rantanen, the Moose, he continues to dominate these playoffs. 9 goals in the playoffs so far. Absolutely insane how good of a playoffs Mikko Rantanen is having. And it is good that the Dallas Stars aren't letting his good efforts be put to waste, because they're now ahead 2-1 in this series with this 5-2 win. Hellebuck, he gets the loss in this one again. Him on the road in these playoffs is borderline unplayable. I don't know what the word I was going to use was, but he doesn't look good. The Winnipeg Jets are now 5-5. 5 wins, 5 losses in these playoffs. Not very good if you are the President's Trophy winners, having the highest of hopes of winning the Stanley Cup. Not good at all. Wyatt Johnson gets the last goal of the game for the Dallas Stars, picking up his 4th of the playoffs. Game 4 of this series will be played on Tuesday night. I think that is the only game of the night, so tune in. These are 2 juggernaut teams, 2 of the best teams in the Western Conference and 2 of the best teams in the entire NHL. So since there are no other games, you have no excuse not to watch these 2 teams. So enjoy it. It'll be fun. Last but not least, the second game of the evening is my favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, taking on the Florida Panthers. In Game 4 of this series, the Leafs came into this game up 2-1. They won their 2 games at home, and then they went into Florida and lost in overtime on Friday night. I think it was. Yeah, Friday night. And tonight, they were hoping to go back to Toronto for Game 5, up 3-1 in the series, and unfortunately, that just will not happen. The Toronto Maple Leafs get blanked in this game 2-0, thanks to goals from Carter Verhaeghe, who picks up his 4th, and the dagger, that little in the gut, that little punch in the gut from Sam Bennett picks up his 5th, and that was it for the goal scoring. The Florida Panthers had like 5 or 6 power plays in this game, 4 in the first period. The Leafs, they killed all but 1 in the first period. That was the Carter Verhaeghe goal, and it just did not look good for the Leafs for the first 2 periods. The first 2 periods, it could have been 4 or 5-0 for the Florida Panthers. We're just being completely honest here, completely upfront. The Leafs look irrelevant for most of those first 2 periods. They had their chances, but they didn't do anything with them. Joseph Woll, MVP of the night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He did absolutely everything he could to stop these saves. Nothing should go against that guy. The Leafs only had 9 shots with like 2 minutes to go in the second period. I think they entered the third period with 11 or 12 or something like that. So not many shots, but it's hard to get shots on net when you're constantly on the penalty kill. The Leafs, they desperately need to smarten up in Game 5 on home ice on Wednesday. They get a couple days to get home, relax, see their families, give their wife a kiss. I don't care what they do. Get your head back in the game, because today's game was unacceptable. You can't be taking that many penalties. I would say 1 of them were a bad call, if that. A lot of them it was over the glass, it was interference, it was high sticking, all blatant penalties. The Leafs have no excuse for their actions, and they better get their butts in gear, or they're going to be in big trouble, because these Florida Panthers are amazing at hockey, and they are not going to go away easy. On the other side of that coin, the Leafs, they have the series tied at 2. You are going to home ice. You have the chance to go up 3-2 in this series. Do it, because if you let the Panthers go home, it might be the end of the series. And if you thought if you're going to go throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, woe is me, the Leafs, blah, 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 blah. Yes, the Leafs played not great at all tonight. But they are a very good hockey team playing an exceptional hockey team. So anything can happen. We will see you on Wednesday in Game 5, where we will talk about it some more. That is as calm as I'm going to be. There were some blatant missed calls in this game. An elbow, I forget who it was on the Florida Panthers, but an elbow to the back of the head of Mitch Marner, that could have been a penalty or even a suspension. Domi at the end of the game cross-checks Barkov into the boards. That could be a suspension, or if it wasn't the end of the game, it could have been a penalty. Anything, Bobby, there was a big scrum. Also, let me know in the comments if you're watching to the end, should players be fined or given a penalty to start the next game, or something? Should something happen if you throw your hands or throw your gloves up in the air and start punching an opponent after the final horn is played? Marchand did that to Bobby McMahon. He heard I could see it in his eyes. He heard the horn go for the end of the game. He threw his gloves in the air and started suckering Bobby McMahon. That is brutal. And he knows he can get away with it. That's what I don't get. So that is it for this video. That is as calm as I'm going to be for this Leafs game. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say except the Leafs better smarten up. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Talk to you later.